But I think a challenge that I've also realized too, that most people don't realize about online dating, but they continue on it with it anyways, is not only is intentionality or acceptance easier or more than likely on dating apps, so is rejection. And that's the second con I can come up with. Rejection is also more than likely to happen on dating apps. Welcome to the Free and Redeem podcast. I am your host, Simon Andrade, and here on this specific show, we tackle over key topics that every single Christian struggles with. We bring in guests, we bring in godly wisdom, and more importantly, we bring in scriptures in the Bible to help you enhance your walk with God, bring in confidence, and put you into the direction of freedom and grace by the power of the Holy Spirit. If you're new to this platform, I encourage you to subscribe. With all that being said, guys, let's get started with today's episode. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Free and Redeem podcast. I am so glad you guys are tuning in today. Hope you guys have been having a blessed week. But if you're new to this channel, welcome. We are posting content every other Saturday, and I'm really excited about today's episode. But before we get started, if you're new here, once again, don't forget to hit that like button, hit subscribe. We are continuing our series with dating and the struggles that a lot of us face in this specific subject. Hope you guys have been enjoying the content so far. Man, today's episode, I really put a lot of thought into this episode, and of course this episode's going to be very short and very quick, but if you read the title of today's episode, it's simply Christians and dating apps, or Christian dating and the topic of dating apps. This is a very interesting subject because I feel like there's a lot of different opinions that I have seen out there regarding the whole entire concept of people using dating apps, and not just in the Christian world or Christian dating community, but even in a secular community. Sometimes I've seen different types of opinions of people that kind of discourage the idea of dating apps. I've heard people say dating apps are a waste of time, people shouldn't waste their money, or even download any of the apps at all. And then again, I do hear some people that really encourage it, like, hey, get on there, put yourself out there. This is a great way to meet people. Maybe there's a lot more people you can meet in your area, and it's more easier to get dates, yada, yada. Well, today's episode, I really want to talk about my personal experience of this specific, you could say, phenomena, or this specific concept of dating, and that is my use of dating apps. Now, what really made me want to make a video or make an episode about this is because how I really used to see dating apps is there was like a completely different opinion I used to have about this idea. And of course, over the years, I never used dating apps before, never used to go online and try to meet people, or meeting other women to go on dates with. Most of the time, especially, and I'm sure a lot of people or some people may have experience with this, most dating kind of just comes organically, or in some ways it comes unexpectedly. But as we know, dating is a struggle today. And, a few years ago, I would say into 2022, and I can't believe this was almost 3 years ago now that I really think about it. But during that time, and of course around that time, that's when I first initially started the podcast, Free and Redeemed. Yeah, I started that podcast, and at that time, and of course nothing's fully changed yet, but the Lord really had me going through a strong single season. And when I say that word strong, that means I was not talking to anybody, not even getting close to the idea of dating, or even entertaining the idea of going out on a date with anyone, or in this case, young women. Just like I'm sure a lot of people face in today's time, there was really a struggle with loneliness there. And it really takes me back to a specific moment in my life where I was at a specific football game, or I was at a UTSA football game with my family. And of course, I'll probably show the picture here. We were at the Alamo Dome. We were sitting down enjoying the game, and we had a good time. But the reason why I'm telling this story is because I remember everyone in my family, they had a smile on their face. We were chilling cheering on the UTSA Roadrunners. But I just remember sitting there and just felt this heaviness on me. And I would really describe it as the heaviness of loneliness, you could say. Yeah, I remember just sitting down and I saw two people, or it was a young man and a young woman. They were sitting about a few rows ahead of us. And it was so clear that they were on a date, they were having a great time. And immediately my mindset started shifting to the point where I was asking the Lord, like, God, why don't you let me date? Why aren't you opening this door for me? And I guess in so many words, and I really actually eventually want to do a series on this. It was almost like I was facing, I guess you can say, single depression or singleness depression, and really just feeling this dark heaviness about myself, all because of my dating status. But a few months went by, and kind of getting to where we're getting now, I really felt in my heart like, hey, let me give dating apps a try. Because before, I used to always look at dating apps as why even use it? You know, in a way, I used to actually think this specific platforms, I think getting on platforms like this were in a way a little bit embarrassing, just for various amount of reasons, like, oh, you're getting desperate, and wide variety of stereotypes that I'm sure a lot of people have when it comes to dating apps. But when I use dating apps, downloading, I would say a good variety of them, just trying them all out, seeing what they're like, there were a large amount of experiences that I did face using this. In today's episode, I really just want to talk about the simple pros and cons of my experience using dating apps. And when I say dating apps, I'm specifically talking about some dating apps that I'm sure a lot of people know who they are. Of course, it's not giving a review for all of them. Really don't have time to go through all of them, but some of them I did use, or I did jump on before. It was Tinder, Bumble, I believe a Christian one was Upward, and one of them, I would say there was one that I really did meet a lot of really great intelligent women over the years using this app. It used to be called, I forgot what it was initially called, but it was called Holy. It's now called Holy. It's a Christian dating app. They do have strong guidelines about your faith. We'll get to that later, but it was just a wide variety of dating apps I used, and there were certain results or experiences that I had. I will say this, there are some pros and cons to dating apps. What's the first pro I could really describe about using any kind of dating app? Well, first of all, dating apps, and this is the first pro I could really say, are a more simple way to be socially active in your everyday life. Most people don't really take the time, and I think this is why a lot of people may still be single today, is because they're not fully socially active. You know, sometimes if you really want to meet friends, or guys, ladies, if you want a boyfriend or girlfriend, you're not going to do it by just sitting at home all the time. You're not going to just be doing it by going to work, clocking out of work, clocking in work and clocking out of work, and just living an everyday routine, but not actually making the time to be socially active and meeting new potential friends. I feel like dating apps, what I could really say, maybe a more positive side, or starting this off pretty positive, is what I've learned from dating apps is it's a more simple way to be socially active. What's tough too, and I think this is really good for most people that may live in more rural areas, very small towns, is it's an opportunity to meet people that are in your town and you probably didn't even know they lived right by you, or they lived a few blocks from you, or in the same area. It kind of gives you an opportunity to not just express who you are as an individual, but it's an opportunity to see who other people are. That's what I would really say. What I've started to learn about dating apps is that there are people out there that are willing to be socially active like you. And it kind of gives you an opportunity to, just have conversations. I mean, of course, in this case, you're not having in-person conversations, especially when you start matching with people, but it's really an opportunity to just have genuine conversations and really see where it goes with somebody. In this case, if you're a single Christian man, it's with single Christian women and vice versa. But there are also cons that come with dating apps, and I think this is the top reason why maybe a lot of people don't encourage it. Because the con I would really say, or second con I would say, or excuse me, first con, is dating apps is also a more simple way to disguise your social insecurities. I will say this. It's so easy to do everything online now. And that does include, not just online shopping, just on the online business, online transactions, or just anything online. It's now more easy to do everything when it's now on the internet. I really think about how dating apps maybe used to be. First of all, there were no dating apps back in the 90s or the 80s. I actually looked up, and I'm sure some people who are in the 80s or 90s generation, if you wanted to date, you had to join I guess you can say a dating club, or there was this thing where people would jump on cameras. In this case, it was single young man, and guys on camera would say, okay, describe yourself. Well, I like going on walks on the beach. I love going to the gym. I love playing basketball. Oh, I love going to a local coffee shop. And then they would play the video to women. And it was almost like, you could say, a more organic way of a dating app where people were seeing your stuff. They were seeing who you are as a person. And it was an opportunity for people to, let's say in this case, a young woman, to see a man on camera and say, wow, he seems like a great guy. And that's how sometimes people will meet. But online has really changed the function of that. And what do I mean by that when I say dating apps are a more simple way to disguise your social insecurities? Well, let me just say it like this. Social media today, 90% of the time, people are not going to post their insecure side. They're not going to post their negative side, or the side they don't want anybody to see. More than likely, they're going to post their highlight reel. And I'm using that term social media because that's exactly how social media is 90% of the time, more specifically on Instagram or Facebook, is people that are going to post, especially when it comes to their romantic side. Oh yeah, just the perfect stuff about their relationships with their spouse, with their long-term boyfriend or girlfriend. And I feel like it's the same exact thing with dating apps. People are going to post stuff about themselves to really stand out. And first of all, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you want to at least post a good impression of yourself so people can look at your profile and swipe right. But I think the problem with this is people don't really know how to give a clear first impression. Really, all you're doing is, most dating apps, I would say every dating app actually, is you actually click and it just, boom, it just shows you different profiles. And it's up to you, if you look at their pictures, read their profile, read their interests, if this is someone you would want to consider talking to or meeting. If it's someone that you're not wanting to consider, you swipe left. If it's someone who you do want to consider talking to, you swipe right. And it's really up to them if they want to swipe right back at you. But I think the toughest part, and I feel like this has been a problem a lot when it comes to online dating, is dating apps are basically, I wouldn't just say dating apps, online dating in general, are a more easy way to create you or create people into a person that they want others to see them as. But in reality, people know that's not who they really are, especially when they meet in person. You know what that's called today? That's called catfishing. And luckily, my experience with dating apps, I mean, luckily I haven't been catfished, and we all know what the term catfish may mean from that famous MTV show. But what is catfishing? Well, exactly how I just explained it. Most people think of catfishing as someone who poses as an individual. They post fake pictures or pictures of like what a person sees on the site. In reality, it's a completely different person hiding behind a computer or a phone. But I feel like catfishing can even go beyond that. I feel like sometimes people could see and even talk to a person. It may be that same individual they're talking to. That person may seem energetic, they may seem friendly, they may seem flirtatious, but when they actually meet on a date, when they actually get an opportunity to get close to this person and really connect with them and see what it's like in person, and this is the experience maybe I have faced, is, wow, is this the same person I'm talking to? They're completely different. They're more shy, they're more kind of like standoffish, like, don't talk to me, or you know what, like, just there's like a trust factor there. And I got to tell you, that is probably the biggest, I wouldn't say the main issue, but that's more of the, I guess you can say, the prominent issue I've really noticed when it comes to online dating is people will show the best side of themselves. And some of the young women I have met, I mean, I've really met some really great women. We meet on a date goes well, things try to work out, but eventually we realize, hey, things aren't going to work out. So we simply respectfully say, hey, I had a great time with you, but you know, I feel like maybe we should just move on to separate places, and times move on. But there has been some experiences where I've actually really learned, like, people really want to show the best side of themselves, or they want to show a certain side of themselves on dating apps, how they want others to view them. And then by the time it came to actually meeting these people, we actually realized, wow, something's not right here. And that's the number one, I would say, the prominent con I've really noticed about this specific subject on online dating. But there's still so much more we could really say that makes online dating great. And what I would really say is, I will say it the second pro I could really come up with is, dating apps are an online platform, or it's an online platform where you're actually meeting people that are looking for the same thing as you, to date. You're not meeting people just to meet friends. I mean, if I mean, now dating apps actually have a friendship option where if you're not really looking to date, I know on Bumble and a few other places, it's like now you could actually meet people who are just looking for friends. They're not looking for anything. And it could be people in the same gender or even different gender. But what I've actually learned is most of the time people are jumping on dating apps, not really just to make friends. They're actually going on dating apps because they want to be in a relationship. They want to see if they can meet someone in a romantic way. And what makes this really good for people that are really looking to, I guess, kind of expand their dating life or really try to meet more people and be more socially active is dating apps are more easier to really talk to people. And let me just say this, what I've really learned, or I guess the positive experience that I've really got from dating apps is it's more easier to be intentional with young Christian women there, or young single women, you could say, because they're looking for the same thing that I'm looking for, or what I was looking for at the time. They're looking to meet people. They're looking to meet men. In this case, I'm looking to meet young single women. So when it comes to, describing my intentions to them, that really wasn't hard. And I think that's kind of the big difference between, I would say, more of the positive side on online dating versus people that are just depending on organic dating is it's not really easy to express yourself or express your intentions when it comes to meeting young women organically, because it's just like big question that's there is like you don't really know if they want to be in a romantic relationship. You may not even know if they're even in a relationship to begin with. And I think that's why organic dating, I would say, is a little bit more challenging than online dating, because I would really say the big factor is just the intentional side. But when you jump on dating apps, I would say the more positive side is you're actually meeting women that are there looking for the same thing that you're looking for. And if you really know how to use that, if you really know how to express your intentions, let me tell you, I would say almost every women I've gone on a date with using online dating, it's just like, I would say it was more easier to express my intentions, because I already knew right off the bat, the reason why we matched is because they want to see where this goes. They want to see if this can progress forward. And that's something I would really encourage people about when it comes to, if you're really wanting to go on online dating or get on dating apps, it's if you're really wanting to learn how to express the confident side of yourself, learn how to really ask a girl out and just take her out, more likely you're going to get a yes from her, especially if she matched. I mean, I kind of find it silly if a girl matches with you and she says, hey, no, I'm good. No, she matched with you. If she matches with you, more than likely she's wanting to go on a date with you and see where this goes. So that's something to really consider. But I think a challenge that I've also realized too, that most people don't realize about online dating, but they continue on it with it anyways, is not only is intentionality or acceptance easier or more than likely on dating apps, so is rejection. And that's the second con I can come up with. Rejection is also more than likely to happen on dating apps. And why is that? Well, as I mentioned earlier, it's easy to do things online. It's not here's the thing, it's not easy facing rejection, but let me say this, it is very easy, or very hard, it is very hard to reject somebody, especially if it's in person. You know how hard it is to meet somebody in person, look at them in the face and say, hey, I'm sorry, I don't see this going any further. I really don't see myself being in a relationship with you any longer. I'm sorry, I'm choosing to break this off. That is really hard to come and express to people, because probably you're going to hurt their feelings. Online dating makes that easier. How? Well, I would say probably 90% of people that jump on dating apps usually don't get matches. And if they do get matches, how often, if you've been on dating apps, I'm sure a lot of guys could relate, mostly guys, a lot of guys can relate. When you jump on dating apps, you message a girl, there's probably a higher chance that she's not going to respond back to you. How often have you been ghosted on dating apps? How often have you been ghosted? Someone doesn't want to politely turn you down, so the easiest way they can do that is just simply, hey, I'm just not going to respond to you anymore. See what I mean? That makes it easy. How often do you see women, or even vice versa, women seeing a man? How often have you seen somebody you thought was attractive based on what you see and what you read about them or what you read about them? Man, this person looks great. This is someone I can see myself connecting with. You swipe right and you never get a swipe back. That match never happens. Why? Because it's easy to either look at it and say, I'm not interested. That person can easily say, I'm not interested, and they swipe left. And you don't even know that. See what I mean? So if rejection is something you struggle with, I'm letting you know, you are not immune from rejection on dating apps. Matter of fact, you're probably more vulnerable to rejection if you choose to do online dating. And how many times have you matched with someone, you thought they were cute, you thought things were going to go forward, and you might even meet them on a date, and you thought things were going right. Before you know it, that person disappears. That person unmatches with you. Stuff like this happens. And, this is stuff that we could really look at. And what I could even say, maybe I've experienced with a few young women I've met, is not really knowing how to express rejection to people. So therefore, what happens? Online dating makes it easy. And let me just say this too, 90% of the time, maybe even close to 100% most of the time, that person you're talking to, you're not meeting them in person. You don't have an in-person relationship with them. 90% to 100% of the time, you're talking to them on your phone. You're just texting them. And therefore, if that's how the relationship is, and that's all it really is at the end of the day, then don't be surprised if ghosting occurs, or the person just politely turns you down and says, hey, I'm sorry, I'm choosing to go somewhere else, or I just don't see this going forward. Something to really consider when it comes to using dating apps. But the final pro I would really say, would I recommend dating apps? Like, would I really recommend this to single Christians? Well, the final pro I could really say that really helped me, at least with my self-esteem and how I've really grown confident, at least in my individual self, especially as a single Christian man, is dating apps are a great way for individuals who are looking to put themselves out there. I would say dating apps are a great start. That's all I could really say at the end of the day. Why do I believe it's a great start? Well, for one, as I mentioned earlier, if you're looking to be more socially active and meet people, this is a more simple way to do it. But I think the best thing I could really say too is, if you just want to get yourself out there, it's like you're not forcing yourself or putting pressure on yourself to be in a serious relationship, but just learn how to express your intentions, express the confident side of yourself. I would say dating apps are a great way to start that. And you never know where you're going to meet the right person. You never know where you're going to meet the person that God has truly intended for you to be. And I have met some people that have met their spouse, and you could even say the love of their lives, in dating apps. And somehow, some way, it just worked out, because you know what? Dating apps in a way are no different from meeting somebody in person. Most of the time I've seen people like, no, you just need to focus on person. No, here's the thing. Dating apps, it's just a tool for you to put yourself out there. It's a resource, you could say. It shouldn't be your primary resource, that's for sure, but it's a resource of putting yourself out there. But I think the last con I really want to warn people about, if you are wanting to go on online dating or using dating apps, and if you're a single Christian, I definitely recommend Christian dating apps, because more than likely, you want to meet women that have the same values as you, which does include your faith. Dating apps, at the end of the day, they don't guarantee a relationship. They don't guarantee success. And I think that's what people really need to understand when they decide to download this into their phones or into their computers, is just because you download an app, just because you put your pictures on there, you put what your occupation is and all that stuff, that doesn't mean you're going to get matches. And I know that bothers a lot of people today. What I could really say too is, don't get addicted to spending your money on dating apps. Some dating apps, here's the thing, I've never paid for a dating app before. Believe it or not, almost every single app I've used, I've just used the free version. There's a way you could get matches without paying a single cent to these dating app companies. And some of them, you could tell they just want your money. They'll say, hey, pay for this amount and yeah, we'll guarantee you a match. And of course the match never comes. No, don't do that. That's what I can't say. Don't waste your money on dating apps, but definitely consider your time on it and see where it really takes you. And if you do get a match, especially if you're a young single guy, best advice I could tell you is, don't just look at her profile and say, hey, and hope that she gives you a response. Like, no, look at her profile, look at something about her, and then comment on it. That's honestly what's helped me, not only get effective matches, but also really build a strong connection with the young single women that I have met, and really helped it progress forward. Is just simply commenting like, hey, I see you've traveled somewhere. That's so cool. How did you like it? I've always wanted to travel there. Or, hey, I see you're in this specific area. how is that area in San Antonio? It's just like when you comment on something about her or even compliment something about her, it's like, hey, in a way, you're being genuine. And that's something I could really say that really is effective, not just in online dating, but it's effective in organic dating as well, is when you could just be genuine about yourself, not be, I mean, almost in a way, be unapologetic. And it's just like, if this person's willing to give it a shot, then in most cases, like I said, I'm speaking in the perspective from a guy to girl. Guys, if you know how to be genuine, the right girl or a really good high value girl, she will recognize that. But that's all I really wanted to say about dating apps is, there are some pros and cons to this. Definitely encourage you, if you really want to just put yourself out there, really see how you could really build socially, especially using an online resource. This is something I would encourage you to really check out or consider. I personally don't think dating apps are a waste of time. I think they're a great way, again, to put yourself out there. It's a great way to start putting yourself out there. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. But thank you so much for tuning in today's episode, and I hope you guys have a blessed day. Thanks.